Hi everyone, I hope you're doing well. I have a very special guest with me here, Changpeng Zhao, also known as CZ, who's the founder and CEO of Binance, which is the world's largest crypto exchange. CZ, it's great to have you.
Thanks, Tony. Thanks for having me here.
CZ, I thought we could start off with your background. Where were you born? What's your story? Where did you go to school? What did you do before crypto?
Sure. I was born in China in a small village. So there was no running water, no electricity in the village where I was born. And I grew up there. I saw the running water being, actually, we were using wells before, like the ones you have to pump out. And then we were using oil lamps when I was in, even when I was in elementary school. I think it was my second or third grade, we started getting electricity. I lived there until about 10, 12 in China, and then I moved to Vancouver. So I did high school in Vancouver, and then I went to college in Canada. And then after that, I worked in Tokyo, New York, Shanghai, Hong Kong, and Singapore. We've been through all of those. So that's kind of very quick nutshell my sort of life. Yeah.
Wow. And what type of work did you do before you got into crypto?
So I was mostly working. So I was a developer. Let me give you a little bit of segue. I got into university with biology, studying biology because a lot of my friends, their parents are doctors and they're kind of well off. And I thought, okay, that's probably their advice. Look, doctors are pretty good. But I was more of a tech geek, and then I transferred my major within the first semester. I was reading biology books just wasn't for me. I did well in biology in high school, but I was always more interested in computers. So I was doing programming languages in high school in Pascal, and then universities like C, C++. Java wasn't so much of a thing. Java was already around, but it wasn't as big as it is today. So this is 20 years ago, and so that's kind of what I studied in school. And after I graduated, I graduated with a computer science degree, some computer science major, and then I was just a programmer. So I was a developer first, and then it was only within the last 10 years or so I started doing entrepreneurial, doing my own startups, a couple failed ones. And then we hit Binance, and Binance did well.
Wow. So, you had very humble beginnings and now, recognized as, one of the largest crypto exchanges and, of course, a crypto billionaire. We'll talk a bit about that. But when did you first discover crypto or hear about Bitcoin?
Sure. I learned about Bitcoin in 2013 on a poker table against two of my other friends. One of them actually ran a cryptocurrency exchange very shortly after that. He was getting into crypto in 2013. He was getting into a BTC China, which probably still is one of the longest running cryptocurrency exchanges still around. So in 2013, he told me that, he said, CZ, you should look into this thing called Bitcoin. And I would recommend you to put 10% of your net worth into this thing. And if there's a chance that you'll go to zero, there's a higher chance you will go 10x and you double your net worth. Wow. I was like, well, okay, that's pretty serious. Yeah. And so I looked at it, and I fall in love with Bitcoin right away. But it was really end of 2013. I read the white paper, understood the technology, at least at a conceptual level. The community is much smaller back then. And there's not a lot of online materials. There's nothing like crypto Twitter, even though I'm not sure if that's good or not. but basically, there's very limited information. And I was like, is there a community behind this? So I went to a conference in Las Vegas, end of 2013. I think in December 2013, there was a Bitcoin conference in Las Vegas. Met with all the usual suspects, like Vitalik was there, Charlie Lee was there. Matt Rozek was there, Brock Pierce was there. So the same crew that's in crypto today were there. And the conference was about 150 or 200 people.
Wow.
But after meeting those guys, I was like, well, this is actually a very nice group of guys. They're very genuine. They're actually they're real people with real projects behind a lot of this in this community. So after that, early 2014, I sold my house in Shanghai. I sold my little apartment and converted all of that into Bitcoin.
Wow.
And so that's kind of how I got in.
And, before you started Binance, and this is not financial or investment advice, but what did you hold in your portfolio? Was it just Bitcoin?
It was pretty much just Bitcoin at that point. So as I said, I sold my house in 2014, early 2014. For the little apartment, actually was worth about $1 million in Shanghai. So that got about 1,500 Bitcoins. Bitcoins was about 600 US dollars roughly. The price was fluctuating as I was buying it. But I did a rough calculation. I had the average cost for me getting into Bitcoin was about 600 US dollars per Bitcoin. And the price, like literally within a month after get all in, the price dropped to 200. And it stayed there for a long time. I missed the boat on Ethereum. So Ethereum started in 2015, end of 2014. They did I think they did the ICO in 2015. I was talking with Vitalik back then. I think even in 2015, he went to Tokyo. He stayed in my apartment, or he stayed in my place in Tokyo. Him and the founder of Fenbushi, Shenbo. But I saw Ethereum grow right under my nose. But I was like, look, this thing is way too ambitious. You're gonna have a turning complete language on a blockchain. That's I don't know how that fits in. So I was telling him he was taking too big of a bite to chew. But credit to him, he delivered it. Even though there's some performance issues now here and there, but he actually delivered what he promised, which is a unstoppable machine. So that's good. But I didn't get into the boat on Ethereum, so I missed that a little bit. But Bitcoin did quite well as well. So before Binance, I basically just had about 1,500 BTC or so. I still have it. So that's my BTC portfolio today.
Yeah. Wow. HODL, right? So what made you decide to join Binance?
We actually had a company before. In 2015, I was running a technology company providing cloud solutions, cloud exchange solutions. So if you want to run an exchange, we can give you a platform with some customizations, and then you can run your exchange. And only a small number of them are crypto exchanges. Actually, the majority are actually non-crypto exchanges. So I was doing that before Binance, and most of our clients were in China back then. And then in 2017, in March 2017, the Chinese government actually shut down a lot of our clients. So we lost a lot of our clients, and we look at the market. We say, well, in 2015, even in 2015, when I started a technology company, we looked at crypto to crypto exchanges. Back then, Poloniex was already around, but the volume is low. Bittrex may or may not have started, but they're very small, even if they were around. So this idea is not new. But in 2017, we looked at the market. We said, well, now it may be a good time to give it a shot. So we did, and got lucky. So
that's awesome. And I read an article, I believe it was in Forbes. They recognize you as the first crypto billionaire. What is it like to have that title?
To be honest, no. I think that title I don't think it was that title to be 100% correct. I don't think it was the first crypto billionaire. Even on the first, I think it was on the February magazine of 2018 of Forbes magazine. They ranked me as number 3 on that billionaires list. But I was put on the cover. I think probably because I was wearing a hoodie. And also Binance was one of the fastest rising companies among those people in that list. And also, I can tell you that list is incomplete. There's a lot of guys in front of us. So I was in that list. I was number 3, but I was put on the cover, it was a little bit of a surreal experience. I never imagined I'd be on the cover of Forbes. Just never thought about that before. But having been on that cover is actually extremely helpful. So now, if I walk into a business meeting, even in crypto or not in crypto, I rarely have to explain what we do. So typically in a business meeting, right? You got to explain, hey, look, this is our introduction, this is your introduction, how do we work together, etc. Right? So there's usually that dance. Whereas right now we can save the part that we talk about. What do I do? So like I think it was in March or April of 2018. I was in Taiwan and meeting with some regulators and government officials and central bank, just sort of people outside of the industry. And the guy who brokered the meeting is also a politician. Like he's like a senator in Taiwan. He printed out the Forbes magazine cover and handed a copy to everyone.
Wow.
So when I walked in, everyone had a picture of me with a hoodie of Forbes.
Wow.
So that meeting ran really well. Like I didn't have to explain who we are, why we're credible, etc. Everybody took me very seriously. So that was a pretty interesting experience. So I think overall, the recognition actually helps a lot. And I'm not the first crypto billionaire by far. And so but overall, I think it actually helped our business quite a lot.
Very cool. Now, you've recently had a lot of news, major news coming out from Binance. And, first, the Binance Card, CoinMarketCap Acquisition, and the Bitcoin mining pool. Let's start with the Binance Card. Can you tell us about that? Who can use it, in what countries, overall, merchants, essentially with the kind of a consolidated view of how the card works and things along those lines.
Sure. So the Binance Card is not a new concept, right? So there's many other credit debit cards, crypto credit debit cards. So the idea is very simple. You fund your account with crypto and you swipe the card, and the merchants gets whichever currency they want. Typically, it's fiat. So they stay in the fiat world as long as they want. And the users now, they don't have to hold fiat at all. So you don't have to sell your crypto, your Bitcoin or BNB into a fiat, withdraw it, deposit in the bank account, and then recharge your credit card. So now for the user, now you can stay completely in crypto. So so then you just move so you just have your crypto on your card account. When you swipe it, we do the real conversion for you. So the user pays in whatever currency they want to pay, and the merchants accept in whatever currency they want to accept. And so this way, we allow the two parallel worlds to sort of work together. And I believe this do solve one of the historic problems with crypto payments, which is it's a chicken and egg problem. Right now, with only probably 0.1% of the population having crypto, merchants have no drive to adopt it. Right? Merchants like, why do I need to install another POS to accept this thing?
Sure.
Whereas it's much easier to latch on the crypto payments together with a traditional payment method, which is Visa or MasterCard, or like the credit cards or debit cards. So in this regard, I think there are other people who pioneered a lot of the early work. Crypto debit cards were available even in 2014.
Yeah.
But most of them are not super successful. But I think recent attempts are proving that it's more successful now. And we see that other credit card issuers, and they're actively trying to work with crypto businesses. So I think this time, hopefully, it will stick, and it has very high demand from our user base because a lot of users trust to hold their funds with Binance, and they don't want to have to deal with transferring to another wallet, to another service provider. It's just number one is troublesome, number two is trust, etc. So Binance having a very large active user base in this space, by providing the service, I think will just further increase crypto adoption. So that's, yeah.
And is it any, all the respective cryptos that are listed on Binance that could be paid through this card?
I think initially we'll start with a couple of the major ones. Sure. So we'll probably start with say BTC. We'll definitely throw BNB in there, and then we'll go from there. Also on the country wise, we'll definitely start with a country first, and then slowly expand over time, because we want to test that the workflow works. The banks are comfortable with it. The credit card issuers are comfortable with it. We do proper KYC, AML. We cross all the T's and dot all the I's. So we want to get that. This is a new business to us, and we want to learn our lessons. We want to explore and learn as we grow, and we don't want to go 180 different countries at once. It's not possible anyway. So we'll start with a couple what we call beta testing countries, and then if those work out well, but right now what I see in the industry, there are many card issuers that are willing to work, that are actually actively talking to us now, wanting to work with us. Whereas 2 years ago, if you approach them, they would just say no.
Right.
So I think the dynamics are changing. The card issuers want to tap into the crypto market now.
Wow, that is great news. And it sounds like you guys are going to do a lot of beta testing first. And is it tied to any specific merchant service like Visa or processor, Visa or MasterCard, or is it multiple?
There's multiple. So in different regions, different countries, there are different cards that's available. So it's not because the card are usually tied down with a base currency.
Sure.
So it could be denominated in US dollars or euro or GBP or Singapore dollar. So it could be any of those currencies. So I think the card will have a regional sort of a scope to it. I mean, you can use a Singapore card to purchase on, I don't know, probably Amazon.com in the US. But then you have to pay the sort of conversion charges between the fiat currencies, and it's more costly usually. So I think people will, just like regular credit cards, they usually have a region, and usually people like to use the credit card in those regions.
Got it. Very cool. Looking forward to using that. Next item, CoinMarketCap. So big news, you guys acquired them. It was reported for $400 million. So can you tell us about that? Who did a CoinMarketCap approach you guys, or did you approach CoinMarketCap? How did that work?
Sure. So again, the number I cannot confirm or deny it. The deal number is under NDA, so I can't discuss that aspects of it. But in terms of the deal, the story behind the deal, I think from my perspective, I definitely approached them. So I've been wooing Brandon, who's the founder of CoinMarketCap for a while, in my opinion. I did not go like full out, say, look, we're going to acquire you. What do you want to sell? I think that's impolite. But I've been talking to him once in a while, just sort of pinging him. And ever since Binance started, so it took more than 2 years or so. I think for him, I know I kind of got a feel that he's also a very careful person. He didn't, even though he sold CoinMarketCap, but this is his baby. He doesn't want it to be destroyed.
Sure.
So he's looking for a good partner to sort of hand over CoinMarketCap to. And I think Binance and our philosophies fit that bill. So basically, it was towards the end of last year, a few months ago, we talked very briefly, but we reached a high-level verbal deal, and that deal has not changed in the last few months. Even with the market volatility, both he and I was like, look, let's push through, get this deal done, and hopefully we can use this. We can use both platforms, grow both platforms together, and increase adoption to crypto. So CoinMarketCap is really what in my view, the access of information in crypto. Whereas Binance is sort of the access to liquidity,
sure.
Where you can trade, change, use your crypto. Binance.com tried to build a couple of similar sort of information sites, but they're nowhere near as successful as CoinMarketCap, probably a couple of different magnitudes in difference. Whereas CoinMarketCap by far is the most accessed platform in the crypto space, period, including exchanges, including everything else. So they do provide people with access to information, and we want to help grow that platform. So the acquisition is not so much, hey, let's direct CryptoMarketCap's traffic to Binance.com. That's not the intent at all. CryptoMarketCap will continue to work with other exchanges who are willing to work with us, and we want to continue to grow the platform and provide more information to users.
Got it. That's exciting. And there is a question from the XRP community, some folks wanting to know, they notice CoinMarketCap doesn't include some of the exchange volume and data from, let's say, South Korea or SBI virtual currencies in Japan. And they were curious if that's something you would look to resolve and fine tune over time.
So again, most of the businesses in Binance, even in Binance.com, they're ran relatively independently. I sometimes make suggestions, but usually I don't I rarely force my sort of opinion. I usually rely on the team to solve those problems. So again, on this issue, I'll happily relay the request to the team. But I think the team is fully aware of the issues. When you are running a large information site, there's always some guys who wants to add something they're interested about. So they may or may, I don't know what the limitation factors are, but there are always resource limitations, how much they can cover, etc. So I'll relay that, but I'm not going to be very actively involved in sort of hey, look, this is the issue. I'm gonna manage myself. That's usually not my approach. I take a fairly hands-off approach, and CMC is going to continue to operate independently. Mm-hmm. We also do have good relationships with Ripple, and we want to support their initiatives. So we want to be supportive, but it does not guarantee that's the highest priority that I will jump onto myself, drive it all the way through. And that's kind of not how we operate. So I'll happily relay the information. Hopefully we'll see how it goes from there.
That totally makes sense. So on the topic of Ripple, folks were curious if Binance would be open to becoming a Ripple ODL partner. I don't know if you've engaged in those talks. Obviously, you may not be able to disclose, but anything you can share there.
I mean, I think it's really we're quite supportive of it. We're generally supportive of it. There's just a lot of different things going on in Binance. I don't know what where in the pipeline, or like as we call it, or where how high of a priority that is. There's so many, and Binance is very much ran already like a decentralized organization. So there's so many teams doing so many different things. And each team have their own priorities. I rarely dictate. I try to limit the number of priorities I dictate. So I'm very supportive of Ripple ODL partners, and hopefully we will be able to support or use that protocol for fiat transfers globally. And especially as now we're working with more and more with traditional fiat banks and other service providers. So hopefully we will be able to jump on board with that. But honestly, I don't know what the priorities are. And we typically do not promise delivery dates. We try not to forecast the future too much because priorities change all the time. Sure. Even if I ask to do something this week, it may very well be put aside next week. So things change very, very quickly here. Yeah.
Totally makes sense. So let's talk about the Bitcoin mining pool. And I remember a tweet you shared, I think it was over the past month, where you said you would not let Bitcoin go to zero. Is this kind of what you're related to that? That, you guys looking to start your own Bitcoin mining pool, bringing in someone from Bitmain, things along those lines?
It's actually the two things are not actually wasn't related in my mind. But we are. I'm of course very supportive, always very supportive of Bitcoin. And I think Bitcoin is the fundamental sort of layer in our industry. And we want to throw our hat we want to throw our name in the hat, kind of in terms of mining pools. I think right now the mining pools are relatively centralized. There's only a few major players, mm-hmm. And and I think we are able to provide a valuable service in that area, and adding one more kind of node or player in this space. So we want to look into providing a mining pool where, and also it's probably we want to provide a one-stop shop for miners. Whereas right now they have to join some other mining pool, move Bitcoins back and forth. And we don't see their mining history, and some of them wants credit, some of them wants to use futures, some of them wants to use options to hedge their risks, and now they can do everything on one platform. So that's kind of the angle that we're going. So we want to be able to provide the infrastructure services in this space, and mining is definitely one of those infrastructure services. So that's really the thinking behind it, and more importantly, we finally had a team that's good, that knows how to do it. Before, even if I had the idea, I wasn't really thinking about the mining pool idea because we didn't really have a team that could do it. But more recently, there's a team that came together with the right backgrounds and with the right skill sets, and I feel very confident that they can execute. And we just said, well, go ahead and do it.
That's awesome. And I'm just curious, if will retail investors be able to kind of invest in that in some way, or is it just going to be kind of you guys doing it as a business and having the miners come in?
I think initially it'll be kept very simple, just as a business, and other mining, what we call mining farms come in, or other people with mining rigs. There's a lot of different. Once we get that going, and once that's solid, there's a number of ways it could expand. The team's already doing POS mining as well, so supporting some of the POS blockchains, such as EOS, and in addition to sort of the POW Bitcoin mining. And in the future, there have been discussions about cloud mining, like having retail investors being able to invest in that kind of stuff. But that's like really far down the road. We usually look at one step at a time. But all those options are open. But let's get the first step, working first. Yeah.
Awesome. So, I'm bullish on Bitcoin. I have it in my portfolio, but there's still the issue of scalability, right? It's still very slow. The fees are high. We've seen the network get clogged, and folks are leaning or looking at it towards more of a digital gold, store of value. What are your thoughts on that, and where do you see maybe the evolution of Bitcoin over the years? Will the Lightning Network be something? It seems the Lightning Network has been in the works for a long time, but we haven't seen anything fully fleshed out yet. What are your thoughts around that?
To be honest, I'm not sure which solution is going to be the eventual solution. There may be multiple ones. It's very hard to guess. There's always a lot of factors. It's not that straightforward, because this like the Bitcoin protocol itself could improve, and they could be using like there are a number of attempts to improve that and to improve that, like larger blocks, etc. There are sidechain solutions like Lightning networks. They have some limitations around how they work with the channel setups, etc. And then there are other more innovative solutions, like basically more extreme solutions, different blockchains who are faster. Like, I don't know, Ethereum is a little bit faster than Bitcoin, but probably not fast enough. Mm-hmm. There are other blockchains, like including Binance Chain, which are much faster. So any of those solutions could be used, or any combination of it could be adopted. And it's really tricky because it's possible that Lightning Network improves one feature and suddenly it gets huge amount of adoption. It could be just like that one feature away. Sure. Or it could be that another blockchain is one feature away from mass adoption. Let's say if we make Binance Chain, the user experience is super smooth, that we solve the sort of remember your seed problem. So now like my grandma can use the blockchain without worrying about losing her wallet or backing it up. If somebody suddenly come up with a very creative solution to solve one of those problems, you may get a huge amount of adoption. So my philosophy is I never try to predict the future. I try to prepare for different possibilities for it. And when one future is turning out to be the real adoption, then we want to follow and we want to push the adoption in those areas. So short answer is I don't know, but the longer answer is let's be prepared for all the possibilities and let's push all the different solutions forward and let's see which one sticks.
That makes sense. What are your thoughts about central bank digital currency, CBDC? Seems like every government around the world, central bank is scrambling to get this going. I think because of the disruption crypto is causing, we've seen companies like Facebook, attempting to build their own and getting pushed back. What are your thoughts about the CBDCs?
I think basically the central bank digital currencies should be a positive. It should not be a negative, given that is another choice that we have. It's not so much like before we didn't have that choice, so there wasn't a central bank digital currency, and more choices, in my opinion, is always better. So now I think different countries are going to release it in different manners. So this again, when we look at the details, CBDC is not just one thing, right? It depends on how much restrictions that each one has. Some of them are only intended for interbank settlements, so basically large transfers within. So it's a closed network that, as a retail guy, we can't really participate. So I don't know how much that helps banks, but it doesn't help us. Some of them may be more open, say anybody can transfer just as any other asset on the blockchain, then that could be pretty useful. And again, depending on which country is pushing that, if it's a major country pushing that, then it could be quite useful. And it also depends on what are the monetary policies behind it. If it's like if it's a CBDC with a CBDC with unlimited supply, and they're just every day they're printing 10% more, then that's not going to be super useful.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of minor details which will determine which one is useful or not. But at least more options will allow us to choose. There's a slight downside of choice paralysis, but I think that's a minor thing. There's already thousands of cryptocurrency exchanges and hundreds of stable coins. But I think having more choice is always good. We can choose not to use it if it's not good. So I'm always encouraging people to push forward with it. And if governments come to us asking for our advice, we will always give our fair, honest, helpful advice to help them, hopefully help them develop this more. So we're very supportive of this. We're supportive of any initiative that pushes the industry forward.
Awesome. So we've got a few more questions. First here is, what are some misconceptions about you or Binance that you would like to address?
Sure. I mean, there are lots, right? You just got to look on Twitter. So I think there's a lot of common misconceptions. Like number one, people think the exchanges control price. I mean, we don't trade. I don't have fiat. Even when it's dropping, I don't have more money to buy. Even when governments are printing more money, we don't get it. So I don't like our income is in crypto already. So when our platform, when people pay for trading fees, we take crypto. So we don't have fiat to buy. And so we don't really trade. So number one is I think the biggest misconception a lot of people have is exchanges control price. Exchanges do provide a platform for price discovery, but the discovery is done by the market. The other things I think people give me a lot more credit than I deserve. They think I have a lot of influence in the industry, but we're just one of the players providing a platform. We try to stay neutral. And we're not against or for any project. And we like to work with every project. Like it doesn't matter if it's decentralized government, CBDC. We want to work with everybody to sort of push this industry forward. There's a lot of other misconceptions or conspiracy theories about us. It is what it is. I typically don't read them. Yeah.
Got it. And what else can we expect from Binance this year? I know I'm asking a question where you may not be able to answer everything or share everything, but any hints, any nuggets you can give us as far as what may be coming?
To be honest, I don't really know. I don't really have a fixed list on top of my head. I think there's a couple of new things we mentioned already, the card and the mining pool, which is usually more information than we would divulge before the product's released. But those products are pretty close to being released. There's usually 20 to 50 new projects being worked on in Binance at different levels. And I don't know, I have a vague idea of what they have a vague target of when they're going to launch the products, etc. But there's usually a lot of room for error. Something happens, the project gets delayed. Something happens and projects launch earlier. And it's also very hard for me to judge which one's going to be a hit, which one's not. When we launched IEOs in early 2019, I didn't really know if it was going to catch on or not. It turned out it was a big hit. When we launched futures also in 2019, I didn't know it was going to become we wanted it to become the number one platform, but that was a goal. But I didn't know how long it would take. I didn't think it would just take 6 months. But right now, 6 months later, Binance Futures is the number one platform for futures. So a lot of these things happen. I actually can't really predict that in very high accuracy. But we just try to do our best and roll out the best product, give the best service, and hopefully see which one stick. And we let the users choose.
Awesome. Final question. This is not any type of price prediction or anything like that, and I know we're currently in a weird situation globally with the pandemic, but what's your outlook on the crypto market over the next 2 and 3 years? Where do you see us at, given CBDCs, tokenization of securities, just different things happening all at once now? Where do you see the market in 2 to 3 years?
Sure. I think if you look at Bitcoin, it's been there for 11 years, and it's invented in 2008, right after the last financial crisis. So, and even in the last 11 years or so, the economy has been growing pretty strongly. And if Bitcoin can grow in an economy where already strong economy, and it's designed to handle to deal with crisis or pandemic, or maybe not pandemics, but at least financial crisis. And this is the first time we're actually seeing cryptocurrency used in a situation it was designed for. So I think, as always, I'm always very bullish on crypto right now. I'm especially bullish right now than before. So a lot of people have a very narrow view. Say, look, why the stock market crashed today? Why didn't crypto go up?
Yeah,
it doesn't work. It doesn't work instantaneously like that, right? So the stock market crashed. A lot of people got hurt, and those guys take time to. It will take time for those guys to recover, both financially and emotionally. And the money being printed right now is not flowing instantaneously to everybody in the industry. I don't think anybody's got a dollar just yet. So it takes time for this economy to work. But fundamentally, cryptocurrency is limited supply. There's an infinite supply of fiat currency coming into our world. So I'm very bullish about it. Speaking of which, there's other misconception that a lot of people are trying to spread. A lot of people say, look, CZ is a counter signal. But I want to explain that I'm always bullish. I'm bullish every day. So if you take me as a counter signal, you should just sell every day. And I think that probably what you will not do well. So I was bullish yesterday. I was bullish the day before, and crypto price did quite well. So again, I think that a lot of people saying random stuff about that, but I'm very bullish on the cryptocurrency space. So and I'll not be shy about it. I'll continue to be bullish. And if I'm not bullish, I will not be here. I have better things. If I don't think this is the most meaningful thing to spend my time on, which is the most limited resource for me, then why do I spend my time working in this industry? There are many other very interesting industries as well, like biology, biotech, etc. So all of those things are very interesting. But I do think I will be able to make the most contributions, and the cryptocurrency industry is going to see significant growth in the next few years.
Awesome. CZ, thank you so much. So many insightful information here. Learned a lot today, and you guys are doing some great work. So thank you so much, and you're always welcome to come back on the show.
Thank you so much, Tony. Thanks for having me.